A mysterious campaign in Toronto's West End is intensifying, from posters to a website to a video calling out what it labels the displacement of tenants in Parkdale.
But what does this mean for Parkdale? Well, with each eviction, a person loses their home and the neighborhood becomes a bit less affordable.
Posters plastered throughout the neighborhood target a realtor who is accused of displacement realty, defined as selling and buying affordable homes and flipping them to increase rents. The campaign gives a voice to those in the community who feel marginalized and at risk of losing their low-income units.
A 30-unit rooming house has provided homes to folks with limited incomes for decades. If each of those units...
Well, we know study after study points to rising rents here in Toronto, with affordable housing being put at risk. But perhaps this is most evident right here in Parkdale. Now, this poster campaign, which we've been telling you about, has become the face of what many are struggling with: housing. Now, Parkdale is a diverse community that has a history of organizing, and many of the tenants I've been speaking with say they see the writing on the wall and they're fighting back.
His life is not Parkdale used to be as Parkdale. It's done. It's not Parkdale no more. We live in a different, we're like in small Rosedale right now. Yes.
Which is to say what?
We are more in bourgeois neighborhood, not as used to be in a poverty neighborhood, you know what I mean? Like low-income people, we used to live good over here.
Wahid Bayan, a Parkdale resident who says he was pushed out of his apartment at 87 Jameson and now lives in a rooming house, says he fears the next step for he and others in the West End neighborhood is homelessness.
Where are we going to go? To the jungle? There's no job there. We don't own cars. We can't drive to the job site. That's why we're here in Parkdale. We're poor people.
The Parkdale Neighbourhood Land Trust, made up of residents and community organizations, says Bayan's concerns aren't too far off. There is a trend of rooming houses, an important aspect of the city's affordable housing, being sold and converted into homes and upscale rental units. The group conducted a study last year and found 28 rooming houses were lost and an estimated 347 people were displaced as a result in the past 10 years. PNLT says the 7-month study discovered that 59 of these dwellings, along with over 800 tenants, are now at risk and on the verge of homelessness.
So for people who are being priced out of their homes or pushed out of their homes, they're not only losing their home, but they're losing their support network. They're losing the services they need. They're losing their community. And so, of course, if anyone loses their community and their home at once, it throws people into crisis.
What will the future of Parkdale look like?
If you know Parkdale, if you look at the news, if you watch the news, you know that Parkdale fights back. And Parkdale is very good at defending itself.
And fighting back they are. A recent city council decision saw the approval of a $1.5 million pilot project in Parkdale, an unconventional approach to solving the affordable housing crisis that will allow community organizations like PNLT to access a fund and act quickly to purchase rooming houses up for sale. The money is raised from developers who build in the community and are required by the city to offset their social impacts on the neighborhood.
This, I hope, will allow them to buy the rooming houses and keep them as rooming houses so those tenants don't wind up in our shelter system or on the street.
So is this a sustainable model?
Absolutely. And I hope that it's also the beginning of recognizing that public money can be used to assist in the protection of existing private market rental housing.
Why should the City of Toronto and its residents pay close attention to what's happening here in Parkdale?
So I think what's happening here in Parkdale is also happening elsewhere. Places like Kensington Market, the East End, Bloor Street, these are all areas that are also experiencing fast-paced gentrification, rent increases, etc. What's different here in Parkdale is that Parkdale is pushing back in a really creative way.
And the hope is if this pilot project is successful here in Parkdale, it could be expanded throughout Toronto and address affordable housing concerns in other parts of the city. As to who's behind this poster campaign that can pretty much be seen throughout Parkdale, well, that's still unknown. We did send an email to an address associated with the website. We still have not heard back.